My name's Imani. Welcome back to another episode of Habitat Insights with Imani. Today, I'm so excited because I am joined by Habitat's Director of Outreach and Impact, Jeff Francisco. Jeff, hi, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. So, can you briefly talk about your role with Habitat and what it is that you do with us?
Sure. I'm basically over family services, and that's mainly three things. That's applicants, home buyers, and homeowners. We get 60 to 100 applicants each month. We continually run about 30 to 35 in the pipeline in home buyers, and we have a little over 500 homeowners.
Okay, so let's jump right into today's conversation. What are some misconceptions about Habitat homebuyers and homeowners in the program? And can you dispel any myths out there?
Yes, I love that. I love getting the opportunity to dispel myths because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. Usually, when you ask somebody on the street if they know what Habitat does, a lot of people do know. They'll say, "Yeah, we know what Habitat does. They give away houses to poor people." That is not what we do. We actually sell houses. We sell houses at cost, 0% interest. That's the basics of what we do. But we do not give houses away. We are not an emergency housing solution. I mean, if you're homeless, sleep in your car, and this happens, you drive in our parking lot, you say, "Hey, can you give me a house?" We can't do that. Um, we are a sustainable path to home ownership, and that's what we do best. Our home buyers are qualified by their demonstration of need and their ability to be able to pay for the house and their willingness to partner with the affiliate because it truly is a partnership. There's no money down. There's no closing cost. Habitat pays all the closing cost for the home buyers, and that's we can do that because of our sponsors and donors. Then the home buyers provide 300 hours of sweat equity in lieu of a down payment. Again, Habitat holds the mortgage at 0% interest, and their payments right now are averaging $700 to $800 a month.
Okay, so one of the main things we really want people to take away from today's conversation is that we do not give away homes.
No, we don't.
We don't. Can you tell how much a Habitat house costs?
Yes, we because our pricing is based on it, we keep up with it all the time. My current three-bedroom house costs $150,000, which will be what the home buyer pays for the mortgage. Our three-bedroom house is about 1125 square feet under air plus a one-car garage. We also built four-bedroom homes, and they're at 1322, I think, square feet plus a garage. Um, Now the contract price that we use is currently 250,000, and that's based on an independent appraised value, and we use that figure to protect the value of landowners around us. The way that we bridge the gap between the 150 and the 250 is with down payment assistance. The county ship program right now is giving us about 30,000, and then Habitat will fill in the rest with down payment assistance of our own. In this example, it's $70,000, and where that money comes from is directly from house sponsors, and donors. We call it the silent second mortgage because the homeowner never repay it unless they sell the house early or and they never make a payment on it.
Wow, that really is such an affordable rate. I'm curious, can you compare and contrast a Habitat mortgage versus a conventional home loan?
Yes, actually, I just had an applicant pose that question to me last week and got out, figured the numbers on it. So $1,900. If you buy my 250,000 three-bedroom home, it's going to cost you about 1,900 a month. If you didn't have any Habitat help to do it. Um, the reason that we're able to keep our prices down again is because of the generosity of our donors and our volunteers. Our restore here chips in a lot as well. And then, of course, again, the county ship program. The cost of our houses in the last year, a little over a year, have increased from 117,000 to 150,000. That's, I mean, percentage wise, that's a big jump. And just quite frankly, without those partners that I talked about, we couldn't do it. We wouldn't be able to cover the gap.
Okay, so I'm interested. How do I qualify for a home?
Well, if you're really smart, first thing you do is call me. But what it would entail to get into the program is we would underwrite you. Um, so just, we're like PNC or Bank of America or anybody else that's a lender. Um, we do mortgages, so we have to do underwriting. We're similar to them in that we, we're basically underwriting to see that you have the ability to repay the loan. But we do an added thing because it's affordable housing. We have to make sure that they don't make too much money, so we have to underwrite for that as well. Um, the second thing that is most different between us and a mortgage company is that we don't use credit scores. So we check them, we're informed by them in the larger decision, but we don't qualify or disqualify people on credit scores. Whereas if you go to a regular mortgage lender, if you don't have at least a 650, they won't even let you fill out an application. So we have income guidelines, and they begin at 31,000. So irregardless of the size of your family, um, the entry threshold is 31,000, and that's simple math. For you to be able to afford $150,000 mortgage, you have to make at least 31,000. Now, the upper end, the maximum income category is defined by the HUD guidelines, which are published annually, and they're specific to the county, each county. Beyond the income guidelines, you also have to be a first-time home buyer. You must live or work in Indian River County. You don't have to do both, just have to one or the other. You must be able to show a strong rental history sometime in the past, and your debt to income ratio needs to be under 41%. And you need to have, lastly, you need to have stable income within the guidelines.
Okay, so once a prospective home buyer is in the program, roughly how long does it take until they're signing on that dotted line and closing on their home?
It's about 12 to 18 months right now.
Okay. You mentioned a couple of requirements that a home buyer must do before they buy their home, one of them being education classes. And I know you just started one of those, two of them actually this week. So
Yep.
can you talk a little bit about the education classes?
Sure. It's one of my favorite things actually in the program. A home buyer has to, um, you have to attend all of the classes in this home buyer class sessions to close on your house. You can't miss one. If we let you make them up, but you have to attend them all. And they last 4 to 5 weeks. It's 9 or 10 classes, depending on each group. Sometimes they want a little something extra, and I'll do whatever they ask for. But what it's mainly based on is we do a lot of financial literacy stuff. Like we talk about a lot of budgeting. That eats up a lot of it. But we go further than that. We talk about like how to buy insurance and what's a good insurance. How do you know the difference between a good insurance policy, homeowner, or bad homeowner policy? We teach them how to choose that. Investing, and then beyond that, we also talk a good bit about first time home buyer information. It's by definition they're a first time home buyer, and if you've never done anything but rent, um, I mean, it's different when you own your own place. I remember when I bought my first house, I was calling my dad all the time because, it's new stuff, right?
Mhm. I do that too, and I live in an apartment. So our home buyers, who are they?
Well, there's actually a lot of misconceptions on that as well. They can be anyone. They can be traditional families. They can be large or small. They can be with children. They can be without children. They can be single moms, single dads, young singles with no children, older singles, a demographic I'd like to grow in this county. We have two widows in their 50s that I sold homes to last year, and I've got a guy in the program right now that's divorced and in his 70s. In 2019, the Alice report showed that 51% of the households in our county can't afford the basics of food, transportation, and shelter, which is us. That's over half of the families in this county can't afford to live here. That's crazy. And
Insane.
it's obviously worse now, right? After all we've been through.
Yeah.
So
COVID
then,
and
then
whatnot.
last year, the Florida Housing Coalition reported that to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Indian River County, you have to make at least $45,000. And I think that's probably low now based on how uh, the rental rates have been screaming up the charts.
Mhm.
Um, so so we've become workforce housing, right? The economy has forced it. It's what we have become, and we do it well. So we wind up actually being great partners for a lot of companies here in town because we offer an affordable place to live for their employees, help them recruit employees. So some of the places I look back at, I think the last 20 or so um, home buyers that closed on their house just to see what they did for a living. And so I thought I'd run through those just you could see who Habitat homeowners are.
All right, let's hear
Uh,
it.
yep. So school district, teachers, janitors, food service workers, CVS distribution center. We have like 5 or 6 people from Piper Aircraft, social workers in the foster care system, nurses and medical techs, pharmacy techs, um, accounting at New Vision Eye Center, bank tellers, a professor at Indian River State College, security manager at the Art Museum, 2 Apple computer techs, property management manager, Publix, and then employees for nonprofits, other nonprofits here in the county. They certainly need help too.
Yeah, so that just goes to really show that we are serving working families.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, speaking of, in recent time, is there a particular home buyer or homeowner that their story really stood out to you or impacted you in any type of way?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's the amazing thing about my job is I get to be a part of these families for over a year. Um, they all leave a fingerprint on my heart and touch me greatly. Um, but most dramatic one of the summer is easy. The most dramatic closing of my career. This summer, Ashley, who works for the school district, was we were getting close to having her closing, and lo, she was great with child, and so we knew, the due date was really close to the closing date, and literally, I think the last 6 or 7 days, she would text me every morning a report, um, and as fate would have it, naturally, she went into labor the morning of the closing. So I called Darlene Pegg, who is at Elite Title, they're a valued partner of ours, and told her what was going on. And it was the end of the month, which is really hard to get closing appointments. So I didn't know how it was going to go, but she had a break the next day. So she said, if you can work it out with the hospital, we'll just go up there. So I called the hospital the next morning to see if they would even let us in, and could she be in shape, a lot of anesthesia and stuff. I mean, can she sign papers? So they were like, sure, she can. Today's good. She's good. Um, and they said that 2 of us could come in, and that was me and Darlene. So Darlene and I went up there. So we actually had the closing in the labor and delivery room because Ashley was still in there. So if you look at the picture just to the right of Ashley there, that's little Akiva, her daughter. So we signed the papers, and there was some baby passing around for sure. And it was a sweet time. Darlene, she was so great. But it was a great moment, and like have first for Habitat, definitely a first
Of
for me.
Habitat First. I
Yeah.
remember this day. I remember you sharing that you were going to the hospital. I was like, what? And I remember you saying there was something that she said to you that really impacted you as well.
Oh yeah. Right as we were going out the door, I'll never forget it. She said, you know, there's 2 things I've always wanted my whole life. I wanted to own my own home, and I want a daughter. She has 2 boys. And she paused and she looked at me. She goes, "Mr. Jeff, I got them both the same day." I thought that's pretty cool.
That's so cool. And it's awesome that we were able to help with one of those things.
Oh yeah.
Um, well, Jeff, thank you so much for sitting down with us today to discuss the family services and the home buyer process. If somebody wants to learn more and get in touch with you and qualify, what should they do?
Well, just give us a call at 772-562-9860. You can ask for me if you like. Also, you can go online at irchabitat.org, and there's a button at the top called How to Buy a Home, and you can rifle through those.
You can also follow us on social media on
Oh, yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, IRC Habitat, and you can meet more families like Ashley's.
Yep.
Hey, thanks so much. And I will see you next time for the next episode of Habitat Insights with Imani.